You are in the golden years of the Cold War. The 40s, 50s, 60s, your choice of the three. Your daily life is ruled by the fact that at any given moment, your life, your city, your family, and your friend can be taken from you through nuclear warfare, foreign invasion, or otherwise. You will have enemies during this time. But you will also have some friends too. But essentially, you got two options. One, brush the dust off that old Bible and wait for Armageddon, constantly worrying. Or two, relax and take it easy, live life, and embrace the apocalypse. Many music artists would end up choosing one of the two by singing about the subjects of the Cold War. Most, if not all of these songs, never became popular. These subjects would range from communism, the space race, politics and warfare, to romance, satire, prospecting, and religion. These are just some of the topics these songs discuss. The one thing about them that is always the same is that they are songs about the Cold War from the golden years of the Cold War. These songs have become their own genre. This genre has many names, such as Cold War Classics or Atomic Punk, but its best known name is Atomic Platters. This series will be exploring every category of these atomic platters, and will single out platters of significance, and will give out the best details possible. This episode will talk about the songs regarding the fallout shelters. As of the making of this video, there are only 6 known platters talking about fallout shelters. The first one we'll be looking at is by Peter Scott Peters, made on Loot Records in 1961. It would be the same label that scored Alley-Oop on the year prior. Fallout Shelter was a humor song about surviving nuclear war. The song also promoted civil defense. While the song never reached anywhere near the charts, it did reach civil defense in many ways. It was a satirical song, but most didn't see it that way. Civil Defense liked it so much that they openly promoted it in meetings, record stores, and even in one of their own training films called The Town of Our Times in early 1963, as you can see here.
Silence. More or less. Number of family fallout shelters planned or begun in our town in the last 2 years, 189. Number completed, 5. Some say
the label Loot came under fire after releasing this record, and thus this gem faded into obscurity. But that is not where this story of this song ends. Over in the UK, on Oriole Records, Mike and Bernie Winters would provide this song in a very comedic way, and sent comedic value all the way through the roof for it. Take a listen.
From nation to nation, party time in my radiation station.
The next song on our list is The Fallout Shelter by Billy Chambers in 1962. This one was on the very obscure label named DJ Records. The story is of a teenage boy who witnesses the start of a nuclear war. His family has a fallout shelter, but not enough room for his girlfriend. But instead of trying to break their way into the fallout shelter, they decide to spend what little time they have left with each other. They'd rather die of radiation poisoning than be apart from each other. The song describes this Romeo and Juliet-like ballad with great vocal accompaniment. This sort of style would be found in many teen tragedy songs of the time too. Bobby Braddock, the writer of the song, would later say that he himself had an obsession with the possibility of nuclear war. Another part of it was from an episode of The Twilight Zone that portrayed a similar situation. But in all, he would say that he made the song to send a message about nuclear bombs and such, like many others. The public reaction was not good. Braddock said the reaction was as close to zero as it could have gotten. 2 or 3 radio stations might have given it a spin or 2, but that was it. But like it or hate it, this song captures the mood of many kids felt during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it deserves not to be forgotten. But now another Atomic Platter. One of the more well-known songs on this list is Dor Alford's Fallout Shelter. This one was written by Dor, or Herb, himself as the backing of his second record on Carnival Records. This song was another teenage love ballad, but completely different from the Billy Chambers one. This one was about a teenage boy suffering from heartbreak. So he goes into a fallout shelter and locks himself in to get away from his girlfriend. In the lyrics, Dor uses most every part of the fallout shelter as an expression for his situation. Not much is known about this record because it didn't chart anywhere, but we can assume that it did have some success because it was re-recorded on Dot Records later that year. And in the last few years, this record has kind of come back in a way because it is one of the most well-known Atomic Platters. And it was almost featured in a game called Fallout 4 a few years ago. This brings us to our next Atomic Platter. Believe it or not, the Dave Clark 5 actually made one as well named Fallout Shelter. This one is very scarcely known about. We don't know the real date of the recording, but we can place it somewhere around 1964. It's a fast-paced nonsense song describing a terrifying nuclear war and the effects. None of the members ever said anything about the song either. The only way we do know about it is because someone found it back in 2013 and uploaded it to YouTube. It sure is a good rocker though, with heavy use on the keyboard. And our last Atomic Platter is called I'm Building a Fallout Shelter for Two by Hannah Lords. For this one we know just about as much of the song as we do the artist, which is almost nothing. All we know about Hannah Lords is that she recorded this one song. We don't even know the flip side. The label, Noble Records, had at least 209 records when the company existed. The label operated sometime in the mid-1960s, and online there's only 10 or so other records by this label that we know about. Hannah Lords is most likely the writer of the song. The song is sang by an unknown man, and the lyrics describe a cute romance between a guy and his gal, using a fallout shelter as a metaphor for love. And it can be noted that this song can get stuck in your head often. But that is all the Atomic Platters musically related to the fallout shelter. Although there are some PSAs about them, I will have a separate video on them. There are also a lot more Atomic Platters out there, and much more of Civil Defense out there too. So keep an eye out for those videos in the future. I can't assure when they'll be out, but there will be more. One way in which you can help is if you make a subscription to Civil Defense. And remember, alert today, alive tomorrow.